Last month, I watched as writer-director Cord Jefferson won his Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay.
And the Oscar goes to American Fiction.
In his speech, he makes a plea to Hollywood.
I understand that this is a risk-averse industry. I get it. But $200 million movies are also a risk, you know? And it doesn't always work out, but you take the risk anyway. And instead of making one $200 million movie, try making 20 $10 million movies. Or 50 $4 million movies.
While my usual viewing of the Oscars does not elicit a strong reaction, other than at best a chuckle, and at worst a deep guttural cringe.
Wow!
What Jefferson said actually made me think.
So, why doesn't Hollywood pony up what is really just a small proportion of its overall budget for fresh, new, interesting voices and visions? The profound number of sequels or remakes to already successful film franchises seems to be never ending, and appear to be where the majority of studio money is headed. Look, don't get me wrong, I love Shrek just as much as the next guy, but how are we on Shrek 5? And speaking of giant monsters, let's take a look at Marvel Studios. They have made not one, not two, not even 10, but 26 movies in the past 10 years alone. Most with a budget of $200 to $400 million. Yet it's increasingly rare for films like American Fiction, with a budget of less than $10 million, to find the budget, distribution, and star-studded cast needed to get them made. And the reason seems pretty obvious, given that the average box office return for one of these Marvel movies is anywhere from $800 million to $1 billion. The young Turk writers and directors of the past, who, by virtue of their new ideas and desire for change, found a home in Hollywood, have not been replaced in similar numbers in today's Hollywood. Franchise films and Marvel movies are formulaic, created with the intention of making money. Yes, they are entertaining and flashy, but are we really okay with risking the creative heart of cinema to watch another Chris Pratt action sequence?
What are you doing? Dance off, bro! Me and you!
Film has the power to convey complex, emotional, psychological, human experiences like no other medium. Are we really gonna let it wither in the face of commodification? And is the industry, especially the big studios, taking a bigger risk by not tapping into such a large, diverse pool of rejuvenating talent? Look, Hollywood cinema and cinema in general has always existed in the confines of commercial success, starting from the studio system where major studios controlled production, distribution, and exhibition, making their money directly from box office sales, to the later rise of home videos where studios could make their money outside of just the initial theatrical releases, and now to the decline of physical media and the rise of streaming services. And I don't think that the film festival circuit is a substitute for Hollywood financial support. Film festivals show films that have already been self-financed and made. And while film is an artistic media, I can't deny that these constraints aren't valid. Somebody needs to pay the bill. And my point is not that money equals bad movies. It's quite the opposite, actually. Money can be powerful when telling the right story. Let's look at Sean Baker's career, for example. It's filled with minuscule budget movies that follow the disenfranchised. Four-letter word, $35,000. Takeout, $3,000. Prince of Broadway, $45,000. Starlet, $235,000. And Tangerine, which was shot on an iPhone, $120,000. These films all tell massively important stories and are by no means bad, but do lack the refinement that money can provide. When Baker gets a $2 million budget for the Florida Project, which is significantly more than his past films, but still enough to maintain creative freedom, his ideas come to life in a different way than before.
How does a mother, Moni?
Yeah, Mom, you're a disgrace.
His storytelling is elevated by the enhanced world building and cinematography, and he's able to create buzz around the film by hiring known stars like Willem Dafoe. And in return, this slightly bigger budget allows for the stories of the hidden homeless to be told in a beautifully crafted way. But this is not to suggest that film studios should ignore their bottom line. Rather, it is to agree with Cord Jefferson that the success of his low-budget film does not have to be an exception, and that with a small change of focus at the studios, many more great films can be financed. When a creative industry's vision is based primarily on a strategy of minimizing losses while maximizing profits, it's not surprising that it's risk-averse. Thus, empowering new and diverse voices is seen as a threat. I believe that the opposite is the case. In fact, the studios only stand to benefit from diversifying the filmmakers they engage. It's essential that they do this, Making 5 sequels of Shrek in the long run will backfire. Audiences will tire and instead search for the fire and imagination of a younger and more diverse generation of filmmakers.
We are already seeing this fatigue at the studio system. A24 is an interesting positive case of this. They started out as a distributor and are now financing and producing some of the best films being made today.
These voices, however different they are from each other, are the best way for Hollywood to survive and thrive. So let's give someone a shot. It could change their life, and it could change yours too.
And who knows? They might just win an Oscar.
The next Christopher Nolan's out there, I promise you. They just want a shot, and we can give them one, and this has changed my life. Thank you all who worked on this movie for trusting a 40-year-old black guy who's never directed anything before. It has changed my life. Thank you. I love you all. Thank you so much.